Okay, the proposition is the U.S. should ban the right to own a handgun. And just to clarify the definition of a handgun, according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, a handgun is a small gun such as a revolver or a pistol designed to be held and shot with one hand. The U.S. currently has the best armed civilian population in the world with an estimated 270 million total guns. That's an average of 89 firearms for every 100 residents. By revoking the right to own handguns, there will be less violence and less deaths in the U.S. Although the Second Amendment states every citizen has the right to bear arms, the entire amendment isn't looked at as a whole, but rather just the phrase, the right to bear arms. Tiffany Gabbay states, if you go back and read the Second Amendment, they talk about the militia more than the right to bear arms. In the modern world, we ignore the first part of the amendment. The majority of homicides and mass shootings involve the use of a handgun. Guns were used in 11,422 homicides and 19,392 suicides in 2010, according to the CDC, and were used either intentionally or accidentally to wound 59,208 people in 2011. There have been 49 identified mass shootings in the United States since the Columbine shooting. 45 included some kind of handgun and 4 incidences where the weapon was unidentified. The gun laws and policies that we have in the U.S. are not working. The U.S. makes it too easy to possess and own a handgun. It is legal to buy a handgun at age 21 as long as the person is not under indictment for a crime punishable by more than a year in prison. Anyone who has been convicted of a crime, a fugitive, anyone under the influence of a controlled substance, or anyone committed to a mental institution or considered mentally defective, a non-citizen, anyone who went away without leave from the military, anyone who has a restraining order against them, or anyone who has been convicted of domestic violence. It is required in the U.S. to get a background check in order to purchase a gun, and it can happen almost instantaneously. The U.S. does not have certain gun policies, as in other countries, that would make it more difficult to possess and purchase a handgun. In Canada, there is no legal right to possess arms. It takes 60 days to buy a gun there, and there's no mandatory licensing for gun owners. Gun owners pursuing a license must have third-party references, take a safety training course, and pass a background check with a focus on mental, criminal, and additional histories. Different countries have stricter gun laws, which result in a lower death rate caused by handguns. Neighboring countries have lower casualties due to their stricter gun laws. In 2011, the UK had 0.07 gun homicides for every 100,000 people. The US, by contrast, had 3 gun homicides for every 100,000 people. In 2009, there were 138 gun deaths in the UK, where there are 6.7 firearms for every 100 people. The U.S. neighbor to the north also has outstandingly low gun casualty statistics. In 2009, there were 0.5 deaths per 100,000 from gun homicide. That's only 173 people. Japan's gun policies are notoriously strict. Civilians cannot possess handguns, automatic assault weapons, semi-automatic assault weapons, military rifles, or machine guns. Japanese civilians are even allowed to own swords. There's a mere 710,000 guns with 0.6 firearms for every person. In 2008, there were 11 homicides. For perspective, there are 122,800,000 people in Japan. The U.S. should have a buyback program to anyone who has a gun, whether it's registered or not. The buyback program would entail 60% money back on the purchase of the gun. Whoever fails to turn in their gun should be charged with a felony and face 5 years in state prison. Neighboring countries such as Australia have issued a buyback program for citizens to turn their gun in for cash. This conservative government also instituted a buyback program where people will pay for turning in their newly illegal automatic and semi-automatic rifles. 650,000 weapons were voluntarily handed in and destroyed at a cost of roughly $359.6 million.